As we navigate through life, it's common to gather various possessions. These items may represent treasured memories, serve as everyday tools, or simply be things we anticipate needing in the future. However, for older adults, this accumulation can transform a comfortable home into a cluttered and stressful environment. Fortunately, understanding typical mistakes that lead to clutter can enable proactive measures to establish a more orderly and tranquil living space. Let's delve into some frequent missteps made by older individuals and provide practical tips to help avoid them. Number 1. Holding on to items just in case. Many older adults have experienced tough times, such as economic downturns, wars, or periods of strict frugality. This mindset can lead to the accumulation of items that are unlikely to be used again. For example, someone may save numerous plastic grocery bags, piles of outdated newspapers, or broken appliances thinking they could be repaired someday. One individual recounted how his father kept a garage stocked with screws, bolts, and tools collected from old furniture over the years. His rationale was the possibility of needing them in the future, yet he hadn't used most of these items in over 2 decades. Reflect on this. Have I used this item in the past year? If the answer is no, chances are you won't need it in the future. It's best to donate items that are still useful and responsibly recycle or dispose of what's not. Another shared how they assisted their grandmother in organising her belongings by labelling boxes Keep, Donate and Recycle, simplifying what seemed like an overwhelming chore into achievable actions. It's important to focus on making room for the essentials, letting go of the unnecessary, and not clinging to items for a future that might not need them. 2. Sentimental attachment to everything. It's natural to attach emotions to belongings, but keeping every birthday card, piece of furniture, or childhood drawing can turn a home into a museum of memories. A woman in a YouTube comment described how her father's entire basement was filled with boxes of treasures that he hadn't looked at in decades, and it caused him stress instead of joy. One senior shared a story about helping their mother sort through family heirlooms. When faced with a drawer of old postcards from trips, they suggested picking out just a few of the most meaningful ones to keep and displaying them in a small frame. This transformed a cluttered drawer into a meaningful decor piece. You can choose the best of the best. Keep 1 or 2 items from a loved one, like a framed photo or a meaningful trinket, instead of the whole collection. Take photos of sentimental items before letting them go. This way, the memory is preserved without taking up space. Remind yourself that memories live in your heart, not in objects. 3. Not letting go of hobbies they no longer enjoy. Hobbies evolve and interests change over time, yet older adults often hold on to materials for activities they've long since abandoned. Yarn for knitting projects never started, tools for woodworking no longer pursued, or books for a long-gone book club. One woman shared how her father's once-beloved photography hobby had turned into a cluttered room of unused equipment. Instead of selling or donating the gear, he insisted he might pick it up again someday, despite not having taken photos in years. Reflect on your current passions and let go of materials tied to past interests. Donate crafting supplies to schools, libraries, or community centres where they'll find new life. One retired teacher shared how she donated her art supplies to a local community centre, which gave her immense joy knowing someone else was using them to create. 4. Acquiring items without a plan. Gifting culture can sometimes add to the problem. Older people may accumulate presents from family members or friends, knickknacks, gadgets or clothing, even if they don't need them. One woman humorously shared how her mum had 3 bread makers because she didn't want to offend anyone who'd gifted her one. Another example is a woman who shared how she impulsively bought decorative items during sales, only to realize later they didn't fit her home or style. Communicate with loved ones. Let them know you'd prefer experiences over physical gifts, like a lunch out or a visit to a museum. If you receive something that doesn't fit your needs, it's okay to graciously pass it along to someone who might find it useful. Before purchasing new items, ask yourself, do I have a place for this, and will I use it regularly? 5. Not maintaining regular decluttering habits. Over the years, it's easy for clutter to accumulate simply because there isn't a system in place to prevent it. Many older people never developed habits of regularly reassessing their belongings, leading to an overwhelming build-up. One person described how their elderly aunt's attic was packed with holiday decorations from decades past, some of which were broken or unusable. She kept them because she always had. You can adopt a one-in, one-out rule. For every new item you bring into your home, let go of an old one. Dedicate 15 minutes a week to clearing out a drawer, shelf, or corner of a room. Small, consistent efforts can have a big impact over time. Make decluttering a routine, like tidying up before the weekend or after each season. 6. Underestimating the emotional toll of clutter. Clutter isn't just about aesthetics, it's also about mental and emotional well-being. Many older adults don't realize how a cluttered space can create feelings of anxiety, guilt, or even depression. One woman wrote about how her mother's crowded living room made it difficult for her to relax, even though she didn't fully understand why. You can start small, focus on decluttering one area at a time to avoid feeling overwhelmed. Celebrate each achievement. For example, clearing off the dining table can turn it from a storage area back into a space for family meals. Reflect on how much calmer and more welcoming your home feels with less clutter. 7. Not asking for help. Decluttering can feel isolating, especially for older adults who don't know where to start. A woman shared how her father was reluctant to ask for help with his cluttered garage, even though it had become physically unsafe for him to navigate. Another person described how their grandmother didn't want to burden anyone, even though she desperately needed assistance sorting through old belongings. You can reach out to family, friends, or even professionals. Sometimes having a second pair of hands or an objective opinion can make the process easier. There's no shame in asking for assistance. In fact, it can become a bonding experience. Share stories about items as you sort through them together. It can make the process enjoyable and cathartic. 8. Overlooking the impact of mobility changes. As we age, our mobility and energy levels change. Some older adults hold on to heavy, hard-to-move furniture or items stored in difficult-to-reach places, making their home less functional. One man shared how his elderly mother's kitchen cupboards were packed with dishes and appliances she could no longer safely reach. You can prioritize accessibility. Consider downsizing furniture or rearranging belongings to make them easier to access. For instance, move frequently used items to waste level and eliminate unnecessary furniture to create more open space. Think about safety and convenience. Your home should work for you, not against you. 9. Feeling guilty about letting go. Many older people equate getting rid of belongings with being wasteful or disrespecting the giver. This guilt can lead to keeping items they neither love nor use. One woman shared how she kept an entire set of dishes from her mother-in-law simply because she felt it would be wrong to get rid of them, even though they were never used. Shift your mindset. Recognize that letting go doesn't mean the item had no value. It just means its purpose has been fulfilled. Donate items so they can bring joy or utility to someone else. Acknowledge the memories associated with an item, but remind yourself that the memory doesn't depend on keeping the object. 10. Stockpiling outdated technology. Technology changes quickly, but many older adults hold on to outdated gadgets and electronics because they feel wasteful, discarding them. One man mentioned how their grandmother's closet was full of old flip phones, defunct remote controls, and even a VCR that hadn't been used in years. Research local e-waste recycling programs or donation centres that refurbish electronics for reuse. Keep only what's functional and relevant to your life. For instance, a functional tablet might replace stacks of printed recipes or paper calendars, saving both space and effort. 11. Hoarding duplicate items. Sometimes older adults accumulate multiples of the same item without realising it. Multiple sets of scissors, stacks of unused coffee mugs, or several can openers. This often happens because they forget what they already own or buy replacements rather than searching for what they have. Do an inventory of items you tend to accumulate in multiples. Keep only the best or most useful ones. For example, if you have 4 can openers, keep the one that works best and donate or discard the rest. Label drawers and cabinets so items are easier to find, reducing the likelihood of buying duplicates. One man shared how he helped his grandmother organise her kitchen by using drawer dividers and clear bins, making it easier for her to locate items at a glance. 12. Unwillingness to part with inherited furniture. Furniture handed down from family members often carries emotional weight, making it hard to let go, even when it doesn't fit the space or is no longer practical. A woman described how her father insisted on keeping a large, worn-out dining table that had been in the family for generations, even though he rarely had guests. You can honour the memories without keeping every piece. Consider taking photos of inherited furniture or keeping a small, meaningful piece, like a chair or lamp, instead of the entire set. One family shared how they repurposed a portion of an old wooden table into a decorative wall shelf, preserving the sentiment while freeing up space. 13. Holding on to manuals and paperwork. Older adults often save instruction manuals, old bills, or outdated documents because they believe they might need them someday. One gentleman explained how his mother's office was overflowing with years' worth of paperwork that was no longer relevant. You can digitize important documents and recycle or shred unnecessary paper. Use apps or cloud storage to organize scanned files. One person shared how they helped their parents set up a filing system with labelled folders for essentials, like warranties, medical records, and tax documents. This simple step cleared an entire drawer of clutter. 14. Not adapting storage solutions to changing needs. Many older adults continue using storage systems that worked decades ago, even when their needs and spaces have changed. For instance, one man mentioned how his mother used large, heavy storage bins stacked in a closet, which were difficult for her to access safely. You can switch to more accessible storage solutions like lightweight containers, roll-out shelves, or drawer organisers. Prioritise clear bins or labels so you can quickly see what's inside. A woman shared how swapping her father's heavy storage bins for clear, stackable ones made it easier for him to find holiday decorations and seasonal items. 15. Saving clothes that no longer fit or are outdated. Clothing is another area where clutter tends to build up. Many older adults hold on to clothes that no longer fit or are decades out of style, hoping they'll wear them again someday. A woman described how her grandmother's closets were packed with outfits from the 1980s that she hadn't touched in years. You can sort through clothes with a fresh perspective. Keep only items that fit well, are in good condition, and make you feel confident. Donate the rest to charities or organisations that help those in need. One man shared how his family held a closet cleaning party with their grandmother, turning a tedious task into a fun bonding experience. By addressing these common mistakes, older adults can reclaim their living spaces, creating homes that are functional, peaceful, and filled with items they genuinely love. Remember, The goal isn't to let go of everything, it's to make space for what truly matters. Taking small, consistent steps can lead to a clutter-free, more joyful life. Decluttering isn't just about creating a cleaner home, it's about fostering peace, functionality and joy in your living space. Remember, it's never too late to start. Approach the process with patience and self-compassion. By letting go of what no longer serves you, you're making room for what truly matters. And isn't that what life's about? Feel free to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your insights are invaluable to us. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who might benefit from it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more timeless advice from timeless wisdom on living your best life in your senior years. Take care and thank you for tuning in.